All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by at Matt Money. We have the pleasure of talking to Jonathan, who's the president of Business Warriors. Jonathan, thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully, we have you on over the course of your business continuing to grow.
Thank you.
But speaking of that, tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then I guess a little bit about what Business Warriors Investor Prospectus is.
Yeah. My name's Jonathan Brooks. I'm the president of Business Warrior. Rhett and I have been in business together about since 2016. Rhett had a small business marketing agency a little before then, but before that, I was a corporate guy with a big company called Cox Communications. Did lots of things over my course of career with them, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So whether or not it really wasn't even called a side hustle back then, I think it was just called like passive investments. But I was doing some side hustles with some apartment complexes, and also working with some small business owners too on a consulting level, and really just had a really core value conversation with Rhett one infamous dinner in 2016, and from there, we've had a great ride. Transforming from a small business agency to now a software company that's helping small businesses grow in the same way, but at a massive scale. Going public in 2020, right when the pandemic started. And now really what's seeing success in the whole model is making sense is a really exciting time for me. So I'm very privileged and grateful for the team that we've got. I love the trust that I have with my partner Rhett, and we're going to be really revolutionizing the face of small businesses moving forward. So it's a good time to be us and a good time to believe in us.
Yeah, well, speaking of that specifically, I mean, I was just looking at the stock price. It's up over 30% over the past 5 days. I think on like Wednesday or was it maybe yesterday? I think when it was you and I were supposed to originally talk, it was up like 25% that day alone. So it's starting to move in the right direction. And also, obviously, the key business metrics within the company are also starting to move in the right direction. Revenue is like, from what I saw, was continuing to go up over 100% month over month, which is absolutely astonishing. Has that continued to grow over the past 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, so we were able to be very fortunate where we had really strong partner revenue come over the last several months, and so we've got a great partner called Elevate Advisors. We just did a press release. We'll talk a little bit more about that too, I'm sure. But we really believe, particularly in this space, that when you find a really good partner for distribution, and also then just the ability for what we do best is we're able to get our brand out there. We're able to do digital marketing really well. We're able to acquire new subscribers at a relatively low cost. But it's a machine, and that is a constant machine that we're literally looking at every single day and week. And the whole model around software as a service, it becomes around knowing that you can spend one advertising dollar and get an ROI out of it. And so as a business, what we were able to see over the last several months is that model get proven out really, really strongly. And so we're excited now in the future moving forward because we got the business model proven out. We're continuing to make iterations on the product to make it even better, but we have enough cash now in the company that we can make some accelerated decisions and get a little bit more disruptive in the space that we're going to head into, which is small business lending. So it's been wild to see the success that we have, but I think I've always known that the model is going to work. I've always been, very clear and wake up every single morning to say, hey, how am I going to put myself forward? How am I going to put my team forward to make sure that at the end of the day, we're actually helping small business owners? And, it feels cliche, but when you deliver a product to an end user and they love it, you're going to see success. So now it's all around just, lighting the fires and putting more fuel into it to get more business owners into the platform and get them to be successful. So it's good times.
That's I can tell that you guys are really going to be probably successful just based off the fact that how you talk about it, right? You're not talking about, the bottom line and this is that. You're focused on the customer, making sure the customer experience is great. You're focusing on small businesses. You're focusing on making sure they get the product that they need and making sure that you guys can provide that service. You and your team can provide that service. So I just know based off of that, I'm anticipating great success from you guys. But you mentioned a few things. You mentioned a few things in there, specifically the dollar in. How much, generally speaking, do you get a dollar? I know it's going to be a range. It's not going to be the same for every customer, but about how much success are you seeing with that dollar in per dollar out?
Yeah, so for our pro subscribers, those, and again, our pro subscriber plan is when we manage the campaigns for them. still an unbelievably valuable rate of only $3.99 a month. We pay $100 of ad spend. Like if you think about where a small business struggles is typically, how do I go do online marketing? And then if I know, I don't really have the time. And so our pro plan is never anticipated to be the majority of our company revenue, right? But we know that we want to keep that because our end goal is to help business owners. And so if you do have the budget and you don't have the time, pro plan is really good for you. And what we're seeing on that is there's clients that are getting 10x their ROI for just within the first couple of months. And I never want to proclaim that we're not, from all the learnings of our marketing agency days, it's never guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is if you take the systematic approach that we've done through now the software identifying the problem and then our team actually helping out on the solution, we're seeing that formula being able to just grow and grow and grow for the end subscriber. So, there's customer, some of the testimonies that we just put out, like they're seeing more customers, like their lifeblood of a small business owner, they've been burnt by agencies, they've spent too much, they've wasted on ad spend, trying to figure out Facebook and Google, and they just get frustrated. Yeah. Our mission is to let's get that frustration out. And so, again, the software should identify the problem for you. If you choose to do it yourself, you can. If not, use our pro team. We're working with, a lot of different industries, but we really do very well in like service area businesses and retail is two of our sweet spots right now. And we're helping them out. We're getting the money. We're helping their dreams stay alive, which is a big deal.
No, it's a big deal. You hit the nail on the head. Me being also a small business owner, I mean, that's what I'm doing this for, right? And I've wasted probably $1,000, $2,000 off of Google and Facebook advertising, just trying to figure it out. And now I've gotten to a place where I know it. But I mean, like you said, I'm sure it's a learning curve that you need to come up. And having that expertise that you guys will have, obviously, is something that's extremely beneficial. So is that part of the business, is that relatively new as of 2020? Because I know you were able to grow the average product that you guys had. I think you were selling like a $30 product, and that's probably something that you've added for folks.
Yeah, one of the things that's just foundation for myself, but Jeremy, our CTO, and Rhett as our CEO, like the three of us, we really focus in on like what's working and what's not within the product. To say that we just set it and forget it would be the understatement of 2021. And we're not iterating and making product enhancements just because. We're analyzing the data of what users are doing. We're getting constant feedback from our sales and account management team, and then we're putting it into the product, which I think gives us such a cool competitive advantage because, again, we're still small enough where we're able to be agile on product improvements, where we can find the product that needs to match the end user. And so we started off with saying, hey, we can really just do this with software only. And then we realized there is a 10 to 20% of the eligible small businesses out there, they have the budget and they don't have the time. And so that's where the pro plan comes in really well on. Because as we scale them up, similar to like our business, like that's actually the cool proof point. We can literally say, hey, Business Warrior went through the same thing. We started advertising small, we worked through the mechanics, and then we've been able to grow this. And you can see, we brought in, over $1.9 million in March and April. Who would have thought that back in 2020 when we started this whole machine, we would be able to get there? But it's because, we followed the same formula for ourselves as we tell our customers. So that's why I'm confident we're going to win. We're living and breathing it every day.
So speaking of customer acquisition, there was one little piece that I saw that you guys did last year. So kudos to this. I thought it was very business wise for you guys to do something like this. And you guys offered, when the pandemic kind of started, the free access to your platform for a lot of folks to join up. And that saw subscriber growth grow pretty quickly. But I'm curious, that was mostly free. And how many people have you really been able to retain once those sort of free trials ended?
Yeah, so the free plan is a great example of doing a small little shift based off the business use, right? And what we saw in 2020, if you think about just kind of strategically, what were we working to do? We were working to prove out demand. We were working to prove out the marketing model to say, hey, is there demand enough for the product, particularly as the pandemic was shifting so much? Subscribers grew really fast. We proved out demand. Awesome. And then in 2020, early 2021, we introduced the paid product called Scout, which is the do-it-yourself. We give them step-by-step instructions. And we just launched that kind of MVP version in January, February. And so between Scout and Pro, we've been slowly chipping away at our business plan, which is to get 5% conversion from free to paid. And so, it has been working. The number of free subscribers to paid is we're not at 5% yet, but we're getting there, kind of improving every single month. I believe we're not there at 5% in full transparency, because we need to continue to address where the market is. And so I'm excited to say that there's some really good improvements around the product right around the corner. But then that's also why, we announced on Wednesday our relationship with Elevate, and now expanding into small business lending, because that really closes the loop on this whole conversation for a small business owner. Identify the problem for them, give them instructions on how to do it, give them the option to maybe pay a little bit more. But the biggest problem that out there right now, small businesses, is that, where do you get good capital? Where do you find the capital to actually grow? Because if your marketing is getting proven out and you don't have enough money to put into ad spend, well, what's the point, right? So we really want to, our next, step in all of this is closing the loop for the small business owner, and now giving them access to really friendly capital that's going to be able to fuel their growth even more. So I think that, this is a space we're going to be disrupting over the next several months into, and I think it's a space that needs it. I think small business owners deserve to have the right type of financing to get their dreams moving and to make sure that they stay open. They're paying downlines, they're paying employees. We need to make sure that we're embracing the small business financing front.
No, I think that's really extremely wise. I know you and I talked a little bit about it before the interview, but one of the key things that for me as a small business owner, it's like, well, at what point do I go access capital? How would I go access capital? Do I have to go to, say, the local bank or the local credit union and shop around? And I mean, having that ability to kind of have that sort of stair step written out instructions that you guys might be able to provide is something that's extremely useful. But not only that, I mean, as you mentioned, I mean, the amount of traffic these people are now starting to generate, that means they're going to have to increase inventory and be able to increase the amount of employees they have because of the increased demand. So if they are able to see a lot of success with what you've been able to see and get traffic through the door, that just means that, I mean, they might need more capital to be able to feed the beast, right? So just the same exact thing that you guys are going through, right? I'm sure the amount of pro plans, you're probably looking at the same thing. How quickly do we grow, and how do we manage this capital appropriately? So Jonathan, I do have a quick question about the Business Warriors pathway to profitability. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, for the recent news, obviously we beat plan and expectations, which is awesome. So, in terms of profitability, we always wanted to model out a business of, let's use the resources to actually grow the business in the right way. We were very, very fortunate to make sure that our partner revenue came in at an accelerated rate, and we were able to, show a little bit of profitability. That is not necessarily where we're heading from a strategic direction for the rest of this year. This year for us is very much focused on, now that we got some cash, we paid off some debt, we got a really good, strong balance sheet, we're accelerating some hires that we were not going to do until the end of the year. We're accelerating some product additions that we're not going to do till the end of the year. And so we're balancing the increased revenue and the increased cash with making better decisions earlier. And so that's going to set us up with, my hope and my goal is an even stronger hockey stick on revenue moving forward. So we got a really strong glimpse on how the model works through January up until now by being able to get, spend a dollar, bring in a subscriber, have them translate into revenue. And now what we want to make sure is that we replicate and scale that. And so I think, honestly, we're moving into that scale phase moving forward. So are we going to make some months a decision of pulling more cash in to grow more? Yeah, absolutely. Are we going to make other months where we're still making sure and chipping away at the balance sheet? Absolutely. We're going to be flexible and remaining that we're going to make sure that this business is very viable, not just in 2021, 2022, but we're talking multiple years out. So that's the strategy Rhett and I have in place, and I'm really confident we're going to be able to execute it.
No, that's really good feedback. And what point do you think you're going to actually offer the small business lending? Is that something you've already started on, or is that something you're going to be doing in the next 6 months? Or
yeah, it's definitely going to be a couple of months of iteration. The good news is that it's, we're not talking like multiple months. We're talking pretty short-term months. And that's just because, again, we've been able to make better decisions with cash in the bank on growing the team into the direction that we need to go. And the Elevate relationship, it's just, it doesn't require a lot of cycles because we're so close to them and we know them so well that we can actually, predict that this is going to be on the market much sooner than, a year out or anything like that. So we want to bring it as soon as possible.
Jonathan, it's been a phenomenal time talking to you. To be honest, I think we covered a lot. I'm really looking forward to keeping in touch with you and having you on in the future, if you don't mind. Is there anything else that you want to? Yeah, I would love to have you on too. Is there anything that you want to touch on before we sign off for today?
No, I would just say, look, go to your small businesses. Obviously shop small has been kind of coined, so I'm not going to lead with shop small. But what I will say is, we walk the talk that we say. I promote small businesses, Rhett does, the whole team does, but I really want to make sure that America understands small business is the backbone for how we're going to continue to be successful. So I know it's sometimes easy to go to the big chain coffee shop. Go to your small coffee shop. And give them reviews, give them feedback, because the more engagement that you have with that small business owner, the more that they're going to be successful. And we're not out of the woods yet with the economy. I know it's firing on all cylinders, but I for sure want to be one that says, let's not leave small business owners behind. They deserve to have the up ride with all of us. And so go to your local business, go and shop, go and grab that coffee. So that's what I would end with.
Thank you. Jonathan with Business Warriors, thank you so much. Looking forward to having you on in the future, man.
Thank you very much, Matt.